Hello to those seeking vibrant health. This is Dr. Rachel Northern. It's one of my monthly series. Today I'm talking about heart health. So I'm a family wellness chiropractor. I love what I do as a chiropractor, but I also like teaching about other things and about the heart and other ways to just excel and achieve wellness and vitality and vibrant health. So I'm going to go ahead and start my lecture today. And heart health. So what is the best to support your heart? So a lot of things I'm going to talk about today came from just research and things I've learned over the years. But I have a really good book, The Heart Speaks. It's been around for probably over a decade now. It's one of the really good books about that overall holistic way of looking at heart health. It's by Dr. Mimi. I'm going to mess up her name, but Garnini or something. So I do have at the end of this last slide, I have it on there. So The Heart Speaks. It's a really good book. So I have some page references that talk about that book, and I'm going to reference it through this talk a little bit. First off, I always like to start off with, how do we define health? And I like to talk about this topic because I think in our culture, particularly, all we talk about is disease. We see all these drug commercials, and we're always talking about this drug to treat this disease and headaches and back pain and stomach issues and whatever other things that we have going on. And we have people joining us, so don't mind the interruption. So we have, so I always really like to go back to the basics of what is health defined as, and health is defined as physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and that pertains definitely to the heart as well. So we're going to cover a little bit all those topics of how it's related to the heart. Also, it's not just health is not just absent of disease or symptoms or ailments. I just went for a checkup this week. I got blood work done and things like that. I'm pretty vibrant. I'm pretty healthy. Even the doctor I'm working with is like you have nothing for me to work with. Pretty much I'm like, well, I just want to keep healthy. I want to keep vibrant. I want to stay on it. I want to see what my blood says. I want to see all these things are, even though I don't have any symptoms. I want to make sure I'm operating as healthy and full on as I possibly can. And with that being said, we tend to settle for less. We settle for getting by, we settle for feeling okay, and I don't want that. My goal is, I have had patients that have lived into their 90s. My oldest patient's 100 right now. She's a blessing in my life, and that's my goal, is to be vibrant and make it to in my 90s and be functional. She still lives in her home, she's still getting around. Yes, she has assistance of a walker, but she's doing really well with that. So that's my goal. So focusing on health, focusing on where we can be healthier is better than focusing on disease. So I've talked about this before. We get what we focus on. The more we focus on disease, we're going to get more disease. If we focus on health and ways to be healthier, we're going to be healthier. So, and the other definition is the state of optimal being. So that's my goal in life, and for everyone else. So I always like to kind of give a little bit of statistics so we can see how bad we are. This is actually from 2015, so this is only a couple years old. And yes, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in our society. So, and this little graph, I don't know if she can zoom in on it a little bit, and hopefully she can zoom back out afterwards, is showing female and males are about the same. Before it used to be more male dominant, that heart disease was more in males, but now it's in females. And in my family history, my grandmother, on my father's side died of heart disease. My grandfather on my mother's side died of congestive heart failure. I have my grandpa on my dad's side had his first triple bypass in his 30s. So this is definitely prevalent in my family, so it's really close to my heart. So there's things that I make sure that I'm working on to do that, take care of my body and make sure my heart is supported. So the second thing is cancer and so on, but then we have stroke, which is another thing that is associated with vascular diseases and things like that. So this is a pretty serious thing going on. They say about 3,000 people die a day from a heart disease in our country, so it's pretty significant. So, and we get zoomed back out. You guys can see me all? Good. All right, so heart health. So I talked about there's 4 aspects of heart health. And you can go ahead and have a seat if you want to come down this way. You're good? All right. So we got some people here. So the 4 aspects of the heart we talk about. So we have the actual physical aspects of the heart, the actual, vascular, the beating thing that we talk about. We have 4 chambers. It pumps blood. It, pumps blood all through our body. It's pretty impressive. It is constantly working. So it's the muscle that works the most in our body. And so it's got to be the strongest because it's pumping all this blood through our system all day long and all night long as well. And so that's one thing. And also our vascular system, all our vessels, all these, that communicate, bring the blood to the tips of our toes, the tops of our head, the fingertips, and all the way back. It's constantly cycling. So it, goes through, like, oxygenates by the lung. Then we get to pick up oxygen, it brings it to our cells, brings it back. There's always things, communicating, traveling through our body, right? So the second part is our emotional heart. So you say, oh, put some heart into it, or, oh, that guy's got heart. We talk about that feeling part of the heart, like that passion, that drive, talking about that part of our heart. So that's another aspect we got to think about. Also, love, and, when someone's heartbroken, feelings are associated with the heart and a lot of things. So, and relationships, connecting with people. There was some research I came across a couple of years ago talking about how when you hug someone and how, like, the heart has, like, it creates a magnetic field from that rhythm, and you synchronize with someone. They talk about when you sleep next to people, you synchronize with people, with that person next to you. You also sometimes synchronize your breathing, so that connecting with others, there's something with that energetically. It's pretty awesome. I've heard of, I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook or YouTube channel, twins being born and one is struggling and distressed. They put the other twin in that's thriving, and they just touch, and all of a sudden that other twin starts to, start thriving again. So there's something about connection. So it's pretty cool. And that goes back to, like, in the spiritual heart, the innate. We're, above, down, inside out, we call it. That's IDO, above, down, inside out. And so that's a kind of the spiritual aspect that, it's hard to understand, but there's something there. So the physical heart, let's talk about it. Like, keeping that healthy. So obviously we're, everybody knows, it's on all the cigarette packs, heart, smoking is bad for the heart. So, any cardiologist wants everybody first thing to do, quit smoking if you smoke. I like to elaborate again. Vaping, the research, it's only been out for a couple of years now, so we don't have the long-term studies on it, but I just heard we had a local kid here that has a popcorn lung already from vaping. So, and he's only, been doing it for like a year or so. So that's not good. It's still nicotine, it's still getting in your body, it's still getting your bloodstream, it's still affecting the heart, it affects the lungs, those kind of things. So that's one thing. Find some resource to try to help you quit smoking. There's a lot of natural techniques out there. I know acupuncturists, so you can email our office if you're looking for people that do hypnosis. We can have a reference for that. So acupuncture, hypnosis, there's all these alternative things, a way to quit smoking. If you have to go to alternative, like patches or things like that, then do what you can to try to ease yourself to quit this habit. And also, I like to tell people, always when you're quitting one habit, you need to replace it with a healthy habit. It's hard to just drop a habit because you're using that habit for something. It's some kind of thing. So you've got to find something else to replace it that's healthy for you and that can give you the same benefits. So I believe people smoke tentatively because first off, it gives you a smoke break, and most of us in our city are go, 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 so it gives you an excuse to walk outside or do something. Also, you're taking deep breaths in. So I think if you just pretend like you have a cigarette in your hand and take some deep breath, that alone is de-stressing you. So making a point to take a break. So those are my kind of little tips there. Also caffeine, I don't have it on any slides, but I was thinking about it as we're going over the slides, is, excessive amount of caffeine. And we have so many people that think, a pot of coffee a day or the big thing at Starbucks a day is really good for you. And actually, research shows like 1 cup of coffee, which is only like that 8 to 10 ounces, is actually okay. After that, it's too much caffeine and it's very taxing on the body and the heart, things like that, and the adrenal system. So, number 2 I have, we'll go phase into that, is eating clean, a fresh, clean diet. I'm not a big fan of diet fads. I know we have a lot going on right now. We have the intermittent fasting, we have the ketogenic. There's always some new fad diet that's always going to be coming up. I've been practiced 15 years and I've witnessed Atkins and Zone and all these other things. But the tried and true research-wise, data-wise, is the low-carb Mediterranean diet is the one that is said is the best overall long-term. You could continue to do it long-term and it's going to be most beneficial for you. So that's what I tend to recommend for people to do. And you guys can Google that and look into that. So the number 3 thing I talked about is being active. So trying to 30 minutes a day, trying to move. Whether, I know right now where I'm in the Midwest, where it was 9 degrees when I drove to work today. So, obviously some people don't want to be outside walking and doing those things. But there is things you can do in your home. If you set a timer and if you have stairs, going up and down your stairs for 30 minutes. Just going up and down your stairs, just kind of get your heart rate up, keep yourself moving. I have people, they just turn on music and dance for 30 minutes in their home. I've had people do, just go on YouTube and look up videos like Zumba. And you can get a couple of things in your home that you can do. So it's more or less making sure you put it in your schedule, put it in your time, make it a routine. That's something you're going to do to try to stay active. And make it a point. Now, 30 minutes is too much of your time. I know a lot of people, I don't have time, Dr. Rachel. I hear that all the time. Then, okay, start with 5 minutes, start with 10 minutes, start with whatever time frame that you can try to squeeze into your life and try to make that consistent. If you're 5 minutes before you brush your teeth at night, go up and down your stairs, or 5 minutes before, you go to brush, once you get out of bed and do your bathroom break, then go and do it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. The research also shows if you did 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes on your lunch break, and 10 minutes in the afternoon, it's still really good for you. So trying to get that in. So I've talked about these in talks before. So 4, the new research, a lot of research, and I've talked about this on my blogs, is get a dog or an animal. So it's so crazy how animals do affect our health. There's so much research on it now. And so I talked about this in one of my video blogs last year when I got a dog came into my home and how the differences there. There's so much research showing when you have a dog, just petting a dog decreases your blood pressure, decreases your stress level. They actually, I was doing a lot of college visits with my son last year, and they were talking about how on these college campuses now people are bringing their pets to college campuses for people who are missing their dogs, and so these students get to pet and play with these dogs, and how it's decreasing college student stress. So there is definitely something with that. And then last week, I was reading an article on the Blue Zones diet. Blue Zones is a website I really like, and it talks about all these health things, measurements, and you can do some quizzes on there. So I recommend to go there, and I have a slide at the end to talk about that. And Blue Zones, the article talked about, and it wasn't really so much with America, but it was surveying these people, that comparing people who had dogs, and mostly they were looking at seniors, and those with dogs that they actually almost made it to where they're walking were as many steps as they should be walking, as they recommend to walk, compared to the people who didn't have dogs. So the people who didn't have dogs in the same age group were less active, more docile, and actually in this book, The Heart Speaks, she has one chapter where she talks about this lady that was inactive, heart disease, things like that, and she literally wrote a script, get a dog. And she noticed the difference after she got a little dog, got her out more, got her socializing, all these different things, but got her more active. So maybe you guys don't like dogs, maybe cats, something to pet. Obviously cats you don't walk, but something to try to keep you up, keep you active. You know, it's pretty awesome how pets can do that. Let's go to 5. So so I do recommend in my office, I do believe we're, you know, even if you do try to do the low carb Mediterranean diet, you're trying to eat the best you can. Unfortunately, our crops are overcropped and we're not getting the nutrients in our vegetables as much as, you know, as of 50 or 60 years ago. So I do recommend supplementation. And when I mean supplement, I don't mean vitamins, because vitamins, you know, a lot of over-the-counter stuff is fragmented vitamins that are putting together. I recommend supplements that are whole food based. Either you have to get them from a health food store or some reputable company. I work with Standard Process or Molecular, a couple of companies I work with. And I do recommend doing CoQ10. So CoQ10 is like a nutrient that muscles just need in general, not just the heart. It's more, everybody thinks about talking about the heart, but even all our skeletal muscles need CoQ10 for contraction and things. It supports the muscular contraction phases. And so it's really important for that. So I do recommend CoQ10 for people to go on, vitamin C complexes for vascular support to strengthen your vascular walls, and make sure not just like ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is only a fraction of what a vitamin C complex is. It's actually the shell of it. Actually, the research of the guy who won the Nobel Prize for finding ascorbic acid, he was studying scurvy and vitamin C in sailors and found out that if he just gave these sailors ascorbic acid by himself, that it wasn't as effective of actually eating oranges and getting the whole complexes. So there's all these other factors in vitamin C, not just ascorbic acid. So if you're taking supplements for that, make sure it's more whole food. Like actually buckwheat's most rich source of vitamin C complexes. So things like that. So making sure you're getting like more food based. So like the supplements I carry in the office are all like, it is buckwheat, it's kelp, it's all actually foods and nutrients that you actually should eat. We're just supplementing your food with that. So to help you get healthier. And there's a bunch of other ones we're looking at. I got here vitamin C. And there's some herbs and things as well to support the heart that I talk about, which is on a more of an individual basis when a patient comes in their evaluation. So number 6, eating nuts and fish. So those omega-3 fatty acids is very important for the heart. Walnuts particularly are rich in the omega-3s, and more of your cold water fish is what you want to stick with. Eating that and trying to get those into your diet on a regular basis is also really good for your health. So the emotional part. So that was the physical part. Now we're talking about the thinking part. So the emotional part. So again, we were already talking about like how to check your stress. Like where is your stress level? I have lots of people when I do history. Yes, I have high stress in my life, and I would say, okay, well, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing for fun? What are you doing? Are you laughing? Are you making a point to have something to lighten up your day and not be so serious about life? You have to be intentional in this world. If we can watch the news and TV and all this media, and Facebook is downer sometimes, and all these medias, are you protecting what's coming to you? Are you protecting what you're allowing to affect your mind and your body, your physical being, what you're allowing to like anguish you? Like we always think of anguish kind of in your heart area. So are you protecting that? Are you saying, you know what, I'm gonna block this and not allow certain dramas and things like that to come into my life? And it's your choice, and it's your choice to have fun or not have fun. I know I have so many people that you don't understand, like this is going on in my life, and my mom's sick, and my kids, are teenagers, and trust me, I understand that. Obviously, I'm never going to be where you're at, but you have to make a point to find something fun in your day. You can buy a book or watch a comedy or whatever it is to help yourself laugh. Now, on here, I have a reference of Norman Cousins. If you research him, he was known for, I think he wrote a book or different things about how he found out he had cancer, I believe, and he just rented a bunch of comedies, and he just laughed himself into recovery pretty much. So you can change your physiology. You can be intentional about what you allow and what you put in your life. So the other thing I have in here is, just taking time to stop and breathe. Just just like I was saying, taking time to exercise, also you can set a timer, maybe go off every hour or so and just say, deep breath in and deep breath out, and just kind of calm yourself. You know, we have two sides of our autonomic nervous system. We have our fight or flight, which we call our sympathetic, or our parasympathetic, which are rest and digest. And when we stop and take deep breaths, that kind of shifts us into our rest and digest. It also slows down that heart rhythm, those kind of things. We have a test in our office that measures like heart rate and variability, heart rate variability test. And to see, we have people sit still for like 3 to 5 minutes, and it measures their heart rate during that time. And we can tell if they're stuck in this fight or flight or rest and digest. And some people rock that test. Most of our society, most of the people we test are always over here in the fight or flight. So even for 3 minutes sitting still, they have trouble calming their heart rate down, trying to de-stress. So those are things I look at, because I don't just look at if you have back pain or headaches. I want to see how your body's functioning, your nervous system's functioning overall. So those are things I check. So again, just set a timer. Go off so often if you have trouble breathing. Also, I check people's breathing when they come in, and majority of people don't know how to breathe. Everybody's breathing up here with their shoulders. I actually make them put their hand on their stomach and go, you breathe in, see how my stomach moved. When you breathe out, it moves again. Most people are, so that's one thing too about, like I was saying about the smokers. It's funny because they do know how to take deep breaths. That's the one exercise that it helps with, but let's get rid of what they're breathing in. Just breathe in pressure, not the polluted air. So the other components, so we're still working on the emotional heart. So live with passion. What are you living? And do you enjoy your work? If you don't enjoy your work, are you volunteering or doing other things that you enjoy to do that help balance you out? My mother's a good example of this. She's more of a technical job. She does it to get her paycheck, but then she went into reflexology and more hands-on healing things, and she loves doing that. So it kind of balances out. That's what her exit plan is, strategy. When she retires from one job, she plans on doing this other work full time because it's her passion, what she loves to do, and it helps balance out the stressful part of her life a little bit. So the other thing is, we talk about have to take time to play. So I have Brene Brown. I like her. She's got a lot of TED Talks and a lot of books out. So if you aren't familiar with her work, Brene Brown. So it's Renee with a B in front of it. And she talks about, one time she Googled adult play on Google, and just don't do that, because apparently she got a lot of stuff she didn't want to see. So don't do that. But I'm talking about just like play. Have you ever tried to just go out and just, get either like a rebound or like a little mini trampoline, which I don't recommend big trampolines because most people get hurt on those, but little ones. Just jumping, doing jumping jacks, going and sledding. I have a couple of patients that took their kids sledding since they got cold out. Actually, I just had an adult came in this weekend. Her and her adult friends went to this big sled hill and went sledding, and it was she said she had so much fun. So find fun. Have a snowball fight like us in the Midwest that we are surrounded by snow now. I actually had a snowball fight with a tree the other day because my kids are teenagers and they don't want to do this stuff anymore. Plus they were busy with their own stuff. So I just took the snowball and I kept throwing it at the tree because I'm I feel that just picking up the snowball and making that contact. Ooh, this is a good snowball. I'm nobody's here for me to play with. So I just threw a bunch in a tree, kind of seeing how well my aim is. So I actually did pretty good. I was impressed with myself. So take time to have fun. Figure it out. Just Google, weekend getaways or whatever things in your area that you could do. There you maybe find things that you didn't even know. There's an indoor rock wall not 30 minutes away from here. Try that out. Try something different. So, and then the other part of that thinking brain we talk about is, in my book I mentioned this too, which is, I always forget to put in my book. So talk about the journey to vibrant health. So I talk about a little bit about this right brain and left brain, right brain. So left brain is more of our analytical brain. I'm more analytical. I like facts. I like numbers. I like lists. I like things to work out. I like it, you can grab onto it. And the right brain is more of your creative and looking at beauty and images and things like that. So what I try to do to balance myself out is occasionally I get the coloring out and paints, like watercolors out, and like try to look at that, or just looking at beauty, looking at art, pulling up art on Facebook and or on YouTube or Google like the famous art pieces and looking at them. This year, every year we go to the city with my kids, and this year we got to go to the art museum. It was just so cool of all the things that people can create, and the different, like you can have some beautiful landscape and some abstract art, and how just people can have different things, and you look at it and just what is the possibility out there of looking at. There's always so many different options we have in our society to look at things, and just being open-minded to like the beauty of the world. So looking at those things. So how much do you focus on those kind of things? Or some people like the tactile, like playing with Play-Doh or clay or things like that. We have all these pottery places now that you can go to and paint, pottery, or now we have those paint and sip with the wine. And again, let's try to keep it to one glass, ladies. And but that's another thing, one glass of wine, they said, is beneficial for the heart. Resveratrol, but make sure that they're healthy wine or organic, things like that, don't have the preservatives in it, but those kind of things. So, and then we talked about the connecting heart, so the relationship heart. So I'm going to actually pull some research from, or look at some pages in this book, The Heart Speaks, because she kind of lays it out pretty well. So it was talking about, so there was between 1935 and 1984, there was two doctors, Dr. Ruoff and Dr. Brunn, and one was a physician, one was a psychologist, and it talks about how even though there was this group of Italian immigrants that settled into this one area of Pennsylvania, they were talking about how even though they were smoked the same as everybody else, and back then they smoked a lot because they didn't realize how bad it was, eating a fatty diet, had a lot of them worked in a quarry, like a slate quarry, so they had a lot of environmental inhaling and stuff that was taxing on them. But even though they had all these taxing things on their bodies, that these physicians and psychologists realized that they were healthier than the national average. And the one defining factor that was different from them is that they had more religious festivals, they had more connections, they had more civic groups, churches, and like Kiwanis clubs and Rotary clubs, and they all just always were in community with each other, always knowing what's going on with each other, always supporting each other. And about what happened was then when about the 70s, 80s, kids went away to college, came back, and started putting up fences. There started being a division amongst themselves, and all of a sudden their heart disease and rates and things like that actually came to normal at the average level. So the only defining factor was the social connection that was lost. And so Dr. Wolf says on here, when she quotes him, it says, "People are nourished by other people." And so it's kind of fascinating how, that connection actually kept them healthy and a physical aspect of relating to other people. And so I like to, say in our today's society, we have a lot of artificial connection with the Facebook. Like we can see what's going on with people, but that's not true connection. That's one-sided connection. You see what's going on, but it's not like you are interacting together. So we have these things that we think we're connecting, but we're really not. So that's not going to be the same level. Yes, it's great for getting information, even me putting this out here, and I'm trying to educate you and help you and inspire you to make some changes, some healthy changes. But unless, I get more that people sit down in my office and we talk back and forth and I can support them through that, that's going to be another level. But you need to find someone that you can connect with and engage with, that you feel supported with. So the other topic on here was, I like to say, so there was there's an old saying they say in the medical field that says, the I in illness is isolation, and the crucial letters in wellness are weak. So it's talking again, if you're isolated, you're not, it's hard to be healthy in isolation. And there's a lot of people that are in isolation right now, and they're like maybe receiving this information data-wise through streaming, things like that, but you still need to step out and actually connect, because talk and connect with others. And Blue Zones talks about that too, talks about the connection with people. So now the spiritual aspect. So above, down, inside, out. This is all a little bit personal in some people. So I say to people, you know, if you believe it or not, it exists in my opinion. So there is an intelligence amongst how the world works. Like we have gravity, we have all these things that happen, and then within our own bodies. I talk about it in the book about cutting your finger and how it heals on its own. Your fingerprint goes exactly how it's supposed to be. You're unique to yourself. It's amazing. We have this innate intelligence of healing, and supporting that. Supporting that, and the things I talk about is how to support that intelligence in your body. But we don't tell it what to do. It's amazing how it does it. So there is that life force in us, and trusting that we can heal, that there is potential for healing, is important too. We're talking about, we have a lot of patients that come to me as a chiropractor scared. And some people are just scared to go to a doctor in general. They're scared of what they're going to find out, scared of what's going on. Some are just scared of having, because they've had a bad experience in the past. And I'm here to help people say, hey, let's work with the body. What's going on? I just want to see what your body's communicating, and let's see what we can make changes with, and for the better. So also extensively, there's been tons of research of the power of prayer. And there's just independent research saying people who pray, people who are in a community that being prayed over, or meditation, things like that, whatever you want to call it, they tend to have better recoveries. They tend to have better resolution of things. So she kind of goes into that in the book, Dr. Mimi, and so those are the pages there, pages 118 through 122, if you ever want to try to pick up that book. And so those are different references. Also, when I was in chiropractic college, I did a bunch of research on it, and I came over research after research study, just talking about all the different things, how prayer helps. So this is a recommendation page, so I can go ahead and have you zoom on that. So again, The Heart Speaks by Dr. Mimi Garnini, I think. The website I like is Blue Zones, is my new favorite website. There's lots of quizzes and things like that. And they do, if you sign up, they will send you they're more plant-based diets, but they'll send you recipes and things like that, which is pretty awesome. Standard Process is one of the supplement companies I work with that has some heart health support. Integrative Labs, there's a couple other companies too I work with. And then last but not least, obviously as a chiropractor, and you can zoom back out, there's something to do with the nervous system and the heart as well. One of a really renowned chiropractor in our field was giving a lecture once, and he talked about he was the only one as a chiropractor full of medical doctors, and he was saying his dad died in midlife from a heart attack, and he said he remembered growing up that at least once or twice a year his dad would be laid up 2 or 3 times a year, laid up with mid-back pain, so right in the mid-back and the thoracic. And he comes to a realization that, and when he decided to become a chiropractor, that his dad died of a subluxation or a misalignment, because the nerves were being pinched in his mid-back, and the heart was getting the nerve communication into the heart as effectively, and eventually that heart deteriorated faster than the average because it wasn't getting the communication. So, I really do focus on that. I do see a lot of people who have heart issues do have mid-back issues as well. That also kind of reports around the stomach area too. And so, not to say I'm a reverse, if somebody's having a heart attack, I do not treat heart attacks. I let the medical people do that. But I do try to make sure that those nerves are communicating to the heart as effectively as possible. And it's pretty cool because we have done a lot. We have some patients that come in with high blood pressure, and we'll do a blood pressure check before and after, and you can ask my assistants. We can see the blood pressure drops. We see it regulates sometimes right after adjustment. So, we do affect that physiology as well. Now, that's not the only thing we're going to try to approach if we're going to support the heart. There's all these other things we talked about in this talk, that there's other things we need to address. But I want to make sure those nerves are communicating as effectively as possible to the heart as well, so we can be vibrant and functioning as much as possible. So if you do not see a chiropractor, I highly recommend getting checked by a chiropractor. If you don't have mid-back pain, that's okay. Sometimes you don't feel it. here. If you need to get assistance because you don't live in my area, come in. We can always do a consultation to see if this is the right fit for you, if I am. But yeah, you can always call the office, email our office. The Doctor and You is my website, so the Doctor, INYOU, so all spelled out, .com. And if there's a little place you can contact us, and we can always try to work with you and find someone in your area, or if you want to come in for a consultation, we can kind of get you plugged in there. So this is, so closing, call to action. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk today. Is, what is one thing that I talked about today that you can be better on? Whether it's decreasing caffeine, increasing your activity, adding some of these omega-3 rich foods into your diet, whatever things that can be to support your health. I want you to, if you're on Facebook, comment below what kind of thing you want, action stuff you want to change. If it's on YouTube as well, go ahead and comment below, or you can always message us on our through our website